entertain a motion for approval of the agenda. Any corrections or changes?
Bill, there's chairs up here.
Oh, we have to add we got a couple more. We need to add the Veterans Affairs.
Okay, we do have to add the Department of Veterans Affairs under new business. Anything else?
And your expenditures under finance.
Expenditures.
Any other corrections or additions?
What was that second one, Jack?
Under expenditures,
Okay.
or expenditures under financial. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda for December 10th, 2013.
I'll second.
As amended.
As amended.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Approval of the Board of Commissioners minutes for November 26th. I'll entertain a motion for approval if there's no corrections or additions.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
A motion by Grantner, supported by Christenberry, to approve the official minutes for November 26th. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Approval of the Board of Commissioners closed session minutes for November 26, 2013. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the Board of Commissioners closed session minutes for November the 26th.
I'll second.
A motion by Christenberry, supported by Grantner, to approve the Board of Commissioners minutes, closed session minutes for November 26th. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Public comment regarding today's agenda. Do we have any public comment? Yes, Dwayne.
Yes, I'd like to ask the board if they would possibly reconsider the Ambulance Advisory Board. In the past 4 or 5 years, we've helped all the villages. We've not been charging to go to like the fair for 3 days and represent the Ambulance Advisory Board. None of our members were here to have a chance. We've also looked at possibly maybe merging it with the LAPC meeting to make it one major meeting. So I'd like to see if the board would possibly think about that today as far as the budget.
What is the feeling of the board?
We have one more meeting before
The end of the year.
the end of the year.
We'll take that under advisement,
Yeah.
Dwayne.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, public hearing. To adopt the 2014 county proposed budget. For those of you who don't know, the board has had 3 workshops, October 29th, November 5th, and November 12th. And we do have the proposed 2014 general and special funds budgets. They were approved on November 26, 2013, and were available for review. So I will call for a public hearing as advertised. I call for a motion.
I'll make the motion to hold a public hearing at 10:06 a.m. for the 2014 county proposed budget as advertised.
I'll support.
I have a motion by Grantner, supported by Berner. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Warner?
Yes.
Commissioner Christenberry?
Yes.
Commissioner Grantner?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kishner?
Yes. Do we have anyone that would like to speak to the proposed budget that has been advertised? Other than Dwayne? Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
I think we gotta
You
adopt
have to
first.
adopt it.
Adopt it?
No, you adopt it afterwards.
Oh, okay.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the public hearing at 10:07 a.m. and return the regular board meeting.
Second.
Motion by Berner, supported by Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Now we'll entertain a motion to adopt.
I make a motion to adopt the 2014 general budget in the amount of $4,473,341.14 as presented, along with the approved 2014 appropriations and the 2014 special fund budget as presented.
I'll support.
I have a motion by Grantner, supported by Christenberry. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Grantner?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kishner?
Yes.
Commissioner Warner?
Yes.
Commissioner Christenberry?
Yes.
Motion passed. We have a budget. And now I will entertain a motion to authorize the Finance Committee and the County Treasurer to balance the 2013 budget with necessary funds from the tax revolving fund.
I'll make that motion to authorize the Finance Committee and the County Treasurer to balance the 2013 budget with necessary funds from the tax revolving fund.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion by Berner, supported by Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We have a discussion with Kodiak and the Ambulance Service Department. Jason, are you going to introduce Aaron?
The packet I submitted you guys last meeting to the board itself had 3 big proposals. I selected the one that I thought was most suited for us and easier to speak for us today. This is Mr. Aaron Tazard from Kodiak Sales out of Lansing, and they're representing Braun Ambulances.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I'm here too to, I talked with Commissioner Wilson, and he asked me to come up here to kind of answer any questions and stuff. One thing, I wasn't sure what to expect or, what kind of questions you may have. I think I've met most of the board a couple of times, or at least once over here with an ambulance, kind of walk through the ambulance. But what I did put together for the board was some packages of just kind of an overview of the ambulances, some of the, just really some of the key features and benefits. So I was just going to hand these out to you so you can have them. And then if, really from my side, it's to help me with any questions that you may have that I could maybe answer right off the bat.
Now, are you here to speak to the type of ambulances we're talking about, or are you here to speak especially to the type of fuel that they will use?
Type of ambulances.
These in here are just proposals of different
Any
types of
questions you
ambulances.
have?
Okay, one of the things I was talking to you about on the phone was switching from gasoline, because the 6-liter engine in that ambulance has to have 92 octane, which is premium, which is gonna bring the cost up high. And I don't really want to put propane on that vehicle because of all the letters and all the stuff I've read and all this that I've taken off the internet says it's dangerous. It's not cost savings in the long run because the maintenance is so high. I talked to Bob Olson on the insurance, it's $1,100 a year, but we have to pay $500 for cleanup in case something happens. Somebody backs into it or if there's a leak or something. So the insurance is gonna go up. My feeling is that we go with 2 ambulances and we go with diesel. I don't want to be the first one to experiment with propane on my grandkids' life or somebody else's. I'm not God and I'm not going to try to make that decision. I want to stick with what works. And I had Rod come because he knows what the gas mileage was with the gas engine before and he knows what diesel does. And I was hoping Rod would like to get up and speak a little bit about that. I know it's, and about the warranty.
Thank you, Larry.
Yes, I was putting you on the spot about the warranty. When we talked to Chevrolet, you did, I did, we talked to Ford.
Well, Ford will, if you put a propane on a Ford, they will warranty it, as long as it doesn't affect the performance of the vehicle in that. GM, if you put a propane on a Ford, you have no warranty. As far as mileage, I know that when we had the gas engines before, a trip to the hospital was about 18 gallon, and then when we went to the diesels, it dropped to about 10. So that's as much input as I'd have on it.
A couple things we learned yesterday at Benzie Bus when we went, is the fact that the 2 things about it is, one, the gasoline is only used to set the temperature of the engine to 150, 145 degrees, and it switches over to propane automatically, and we got to see it firsthand inside the buses. We had to drive in one and see how it worked out. The other thing too is that the gas itself, if it does have to be 95, 92 octane, still not a big deal. The maintenance costs per bus garage, who's been doing this for a year, they've been almost nothing. They said that's been the greatest conversion they've had. As for the safety of the propane itself, the tank itself is underneath undercarriage, runs the length of the actual chassis, and it's like the heaviest steel I've ever felt. It's super heavy, like triple thick. So you know, a good example, obviously, but the tanks are reinforced heavily and there's a steel guard in place for the valves. There's not a risk of explosion. In fact, actually, for most of my firefighters, propane, if the air mixture is not right, it won't ignite anyway. If it's heavily propane is pouring out, if the gas mixture and oxygen mixture isn't right, it won't explode. Gasoline is more volatile than propane is in that respect. Propane itself is 105 octane, whereas 92 octane for the gasoline engine, so it's an improvement there as well. As for any other problems with it, Benzie can't say enough good things about it from what we saw yesterday. They've had no problems with it. I think it's a great system. We are not experimenting. We're not even doing this. Other states, other hospitals, other ambulance systems have been using propane for quite some time. They've had great results with it. So we're the first ones in the state to do this. We're not the first ones to do it ever. So if that covers those questions.
On the internet, 2 years, 31,400 gas-pained vehicle explosions alone.
Where?
Right here, facts. You can go on YouTube and download it,
Right.
and you can see these explosions. According to the internet, and I went down to talk to Mike down here at Blair's. If anything's running in that ambulance, which they'll show on there, a guy had his turn signal on, and the car blew up because the turn signal was left on. Anything in that ambulance is left on, you got a chance of an explosion.
Okay.
As proven, and Mike will tell you about it. They went to a seminar and they all had to be certified to pump this propane.
Okay.
And you get propane on him all night, there will be a service charge that he's offering. And the price of propane is not $2 a gallon, it's $4 a gallon.
Right.
And it takes 4.5 pounds of propane to equal 1 gallon of gas.
Versus 8 pounds for regular gallon.
4.5 pounds.
Okay.
Basically, you're going to be running 92 octane. The gas price of 92 octane is up to about around $2.50 a gallon, plus propane. You're going to be exceeding more than you are a diesel fuel.
I don't see it that way, actually.
In the long
fuel
run,
costs
though,
me that
the
actually.
fuel cost on a diesel, you have to have an electrician, and you have to have a pipe fitter to work on these.
Really?
And it's $1,000, it's $100 an hour to work on this.
Assuming that Rod can't fix them?
I don't think Rod wants to work on it.
Okay.
I don't think he wants to lose his hand with gas.
Lose his hand with gas?
Working on it, you got a chance of losing, Miles Coop did away with it. Because one person got burnt. Luckily, it was, he didn't get burnt bad, but the propane did burn him. They did away with it. I went to Blue Flame. They do not run propane on any of their trucks, and it's free. They took it out due to the safety and danger hazards of propane. Why are they not running it?
That's interesting.
I've got a letter coming from them, but it wasn't going to be ready this time, why they did away with it. It was not efficient, the maintenance was too high, and really costly to run propane.
Does the explosion, sorry, is the explosions you have listed, are those from, one of those from Gatewise? Are they recently, or are they in the past, since the beginning of propane? What are they doing?
They're gonna give me a letter. I talked to the guy, and I don't know when it's gonna get here. They said it's gonna take a little time, why they did away with it.
I meant the instance you got to pull up the internet from there.
Explosions.
And the explosions, I wish I'd have brought my computer because I could pull it up. That's just one page.
Right.
I mean, it goes on and on. It shows the guy with his turn signal on, filled his car with propane, walked away, and his car burst into flame because he didn't shut his turn signal off.
The questions I would have in regards to that is who installed the propane system and how long ago it was. Between 82 and 89, when Miles Schools used, when Miles Schools used propane, it was a propane vapor system. We're talking about a fuel injection system that injects propane directly into the engine itself. It's considerably safer. My second thought of the matter is that ICOM, who's a well-known game player in this system, would have to have been approved. They're approved by the EPA. They're approved by the NDOT. I don't think if it's that much of a risk, if cars are exploding rapidly just because their blinkers are on, that NDOT would ever approve it. It would have been recalled. So that's what I'm looking at as a reality thing. I mean, gasoline engines explode all the time too. If you have trucks in the right places, they explode. Remember the side sail tanks on Chevy trucks? Those are exploding left and right, and that was gasoline. So there probably possibly might be. I've not seen that information, so I can't tell you for sure, but if you pull it off and it says that, there's a possibility of explosion, I suppose. But again, as we said before, when the mixture of propane is too high versus the amount of oxygen in the air, it won't ignite. If the mixture of oxygen is too high and propane is too low, it won't ignite, versus gasoline that does, because its vapor content's higher.
I went online to Power Block TV, which they show on TV. Jack Rouse does make an after kit, but he will not put propane with gas. Reason why, you got to change all your fuel lines to fiber. You can't leave gas. Yeah, metal. You got to go to fiber optic. You got to put a charcoal filter in the system. You got to change the computer chips. Fuel rail cannot hold the pressure of propane, so you have to buy all new fuel rails. He said to change it over is very, very costly, and maintenance on all this stuff is very costly.
And it's very possible. Roush doesn't typically do conversions on GMs or Chevys. They do them only on Ford. They have a couple that do on GM models, but not for ambulances. ICOM does. Sorry, go ahead.
There are advantages.
Well, first of all, you know, everything you read on the internet is always true.
Of course, when you get this much.
And I talked to Mike and Henry down at the gas station down at Blair's, and they thought it was a good idea when they talked to me. Now, here's what I found out yesterday at Benzie Dino-Ride. CMI provides certification for the engine work. They'll train our mechanic or whoever they want. The certification for the filling, I watched them fill up that truck when we were there. They filled one up. After he did it, I could have done it. I mean, the manager at the bus garage said, it took 15 minutes to train their employees and certify them to fill that thing up. Jason was with me when the guy was filling it up. Supposedly you're supposed to wear big rubber gloves because it's cold. Propane's cold when it's compressed gas. He was wearing a pair of winter gloves. He said he didn't want to go in the building and get them. And he had no fear. It had like a handle on it. You screw it on, and when he let it loose, there was a just like there is when you fill up a 20-pound tank. They told us the deficiency that CMI, and we might have to get CMI in here, the efficiency was 15 to 20% less. That's what the conversion people told them. Benzie said they see no difference. Jason was right, the engines need to get up, they run on gas to 145 to 155, then the propane kicks in. The mechanic over there, they had a bus with 100,000 miles on it. They put the propane on, the converters, they had normal maintenance for a year. There's no difference in running the engines on the propane. They said you can run the propane right out. As a matter of fact, they want you to do that every now and then. For the filter, they put a filter on their delivery tank to make sure they get good propane. They said, the mechanic there said, if you don't get good propane from a reputable dealer, it can gum up the engines. But they have a propane filter on the tank, and then they have one in the vehicle. We need to undercoat the fuel tanks, and I don't know if CMI does this or not. There was 1 year, they said, before they did a filter change on the bus. And the propane is a lock-in cost. We roll the ambulances over every 4 to 5 years. They have less than, I think, 200,000 miles on them, Jason, am I right on that? And I know diesels you can get 1 million miles, but you could get 10 million miles. But if we have to roll them over every 4 to 5 years, what's the difference? What the engine lasts? It's the ambulance, the integrity, I guess, by itself. Blarney will supply the fuel tank. CMI supplies the light, a fire extinguisher, and teaches everybody how to use it. All we have to do is supply the power to the pump and put up some protective poles. Blarney does the maintenance on the pump. It takes 5 to 6 minutes to fill the tank, and you can't overfill the tank. It's got an overflow valve on it, and it just won't overflow. There's lock-in prices on the gas. They pay, what did he say, $1.99 right now?
No, actually, they're $1.69.
And then they get the 50-cent rebate, and Blarney takes care of all that, and they get a credit on their next fill-up. Propane runs cooler, and it's more greener. It gives off less emissions than diesel or gas. And the guy said, diesel, you pay more for the engines, you need to replace the diesel exhaust filter and the particulate filter, then you have to send these filters out to be cleaned. And like I said, from what I heard, and I don't know that much about the engines and the aluminum blocks and things like that, but I do know it's injected right into the chambers or the cylinders. And I don't know, maybe we need to get the CMI guy up here. I do know there's more questions we need to ask. But I think those guys were all for it. They said the Benzee Police Department might even go propane on their cars. They're still talking about that. They think it's a thing of the future. Like I said, one of the benefits they said is we can lock in our price of gas for the whole year, and it doesn't change. I don't know. I know people are resistant to change, but there is one thing that change is inevitable. And I think it's something we should look at. Like I said, maybe we need to get the CMI guy down here, but I think it's a pretty good deal from what I saw.
Well, I agree too. We learned a lot yesterday. It was very educational as far as what to expect. And what
Well, even their mechanic said when he gets the money, if he got some extra money, he was going to convert his personal truck to propane.
Now, what were they saying about as far as the mileage with the gas and the propane? Weren't they saying something about 7 miles a gallon for the gas and 7 miles for propane?
Yeah.
That was about the equal.
Correct.
So I don't see where you're making any difference on that aspect of it. And the conversion kit, I heard was like $7,000 to do the conversion, $7,000 to $8,000, which is going to be very expensive because later down the road, if you get another ambulance 3 years later, that $7,000 you're not saving anything on that.
Yes,
so
but
there's I guess issues on this.
keep in mind,
we're having.
we're not paying $7,000 in addition to the ambulance itself. The cost of $7,000 is factored into the cost of the ambulance, meaning that if we went to a diesel engine, we would pay $2,000 more for the ambulance, each individual ambulance, that we are doing a gasoline engine and the propane version built into it. So right off the bat, we're saving money by $2,000 for the trucks themselves. We're not going to lose anything in that respect, and we're going to only save money in fuel. And that's why right now is the perfect time to do it, which is why I brought it to the board's attention.
But that was your proposal, you said, but we haven't really heard back from any of these companies, other companies yet, that are giving the same price for it.
I guess I understand what you mean.
Well, I mean, the only one I've seen from here is what you gave out the figures for.
Correct.
But we haven't got from any other companies reference higher costs or lesser costs.
As far as ambulance manufacturers?
As far as ambulance or the conversion kit and all that stuff.
Each one of the bid specs for each one of the services, I added in the costs and adjusted accordingly, and it's based off their prices. And those are the first couple pages of the actual bid spec itself.
Is the conversion kit going to warranty the motor?
The conversion's going to be covered.
We don't know.
Actually, yes, we do.
We don't see nothing in writing.
I don't have seen anything.
All we're seeing is your
Rod
figure
brought
is
it up.
$7,000 a year, that's all we see.
Correct.
There's no figures, nothing what they're gonna put into this vehicle in parts, what they're gonna warranty on these parts. There's nothing here, we're not seeing nothing, that's why
They're not a new company overnight. They've been established for quite some time.
there's 52 companies out there that does that.
That does propane conversion?
They're
How many
put
companies are the ones that
propane
actually
in.
manufacture the system and then install on a computer and then install the ambulances? There aren't 52, I'll assure you. What we're looking at, the paperwork's there, the hardware's there, the actual everything, the evidence is all there. I actually have the number 4 Albert. He's in Texas today. He couldn't come out here. He's the representative for ICOM. I couldn't get him to come to the meeting because he's in Texas. He did offer his personal cell phone number for the board to use if you have further questions on things. All the information I've given you is accurate, and it's right there in black and white. So if you want actual paperwork and actual figures and stats, you can get them easily from him. They're not lying about it. They're very truthful. They're very honest about everything up front. That's one thing we saw at Benzie Plus yesterday, was the fact that they were straightforward about what you're going to lose, what you're going to receive, where the increases in improvement are. They're straightforward, and Benzie said they had no problem with it.
Why don't they come here to this board where I can ask them questions and I can talk to them? Why did 2 people take a field trip? Why didn't they come here?
Well, four people
I
took
got
a
a
field
lot of
trip,
questions,
2
no
more board
answers.
members. And it's fine. I mean, you can call them. I can give you the numbers too. It's not a problem at all.
They said they would help out.
They'd absolutely help
They'd
out.
answer any questions we had.
As I understand it, it was pretty much a fact-finding group to go out there, which would consist of 2 commissioners, myself, and Rod from Motor Pool. So with that, we were able to ask you all the information we needed. If you want more information, we can happily get it to you. That's not a problem at all.
The main reason Kodak's here to present the different options in ambulances, he's being tied up in this propane conversation, which has nothing to do with him.
I agree.
And we jumped in this poor guy's butt here. We need to apologize to him.
Well,
Because his only problem is money for the amount of tank. He has nothing to do with it. He's caught in between, as I talk to you, you're caught in between this mess. You only provide space for the tank. So I want to apologize to you for about this getting out of hand.
No problem. And that's what, with what I provided there too is just kind of, one of the things that we talked through too was the different options for chassis pricing and everything as well. That's included in there. As far as when it comes to support with propane, we're here to help out with whatever's needed. But if we can provide anything, just I'm available at any time.
Well, that raises a question that I had. Where does the propane tank go?
Under the actual chassis, the chassis is divided into 2 separate main rails. It goes the inside of the rail itself. It's a long cylindrical tank. I can't even do the length of it, but it's probably 6 foot long cylindrical tank, and it goes in the inner side of the chassis rail.
What is the weight of that tank alone, and then the weight of that tank filled?
That
I
I
can
can
only put 80% in. What is that going to do? Propane on the ambulance, you put that tank on one side. You got that gas tank, whichever side that's going on. Is that going to equal the weight for this load?
That's
in
actually
that
a
vehicle without stabilizing it?
and what we discussed for several months now. So
When we were over there, they had this tank, they said they put it underneath, but then they had to block some wiring coming in. They had to put up like a firewall or something behind it, because then you had the gas tank next to it, or the exhaust to it, which might cause some.
they do have a shielding there and the valves themselves.
But there is a heavy, that tank is very heavy.
Yeah.
And being filled with pounds of propane, which 4.5 pounds for 1 gallon, you're going to have a lot of weight on one side of that ambulance. And I'd hate
Well,
to
the
see
tank
them.
itself is very heavy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very, very thick, as far as that, what they said.
Yeah.
It's just a concern I've got about the weight.
That's one of the things that I think Ron's a really good advocate of this, and very good ambulance service work, or ambulance manufacturer work with this, is the fact that they're very very proactive about the weight of ambulances. They're very paranoid about putting weight in the front of the truck that doesn't need to be there because of the fact of brake wear and normal wear and tear. Actually, again, this is where Aaron's more of an expert than I am. But they're very, very cautious and they're very, I don't know,
Yeah.
engineer savvy about ambulances.
How do you feel about this, Aaron? What's your take on it?
You know, I feel that it's something to be able to move forward with it, but, you know, to kind of move into that alternate fuel side of things, I think it's something too. You know, if I sat on your side, I'd have those same type of questions to kind of go through on what are those things that we need to be considering. So it's, you know, as far as my side of it too, I look at it and think, you know, there's advantages that are out there. You see people that are really, you know, that are trying to move in this direction, and you know, you look at it and see that you guys would be one of the first ones, I think, in the state to be able to move forward and go in that direction. And I think it does have, you know, it's got there's a lot of questions that are out there, and I think you know, the savings side of things too, I think that you got to look at is also, I think a lot of the savings comes back into the cost of the fuel itself. So from our side, you know, we're looking at it you don't see it a lot. I think that you continue to see that people are trying to move in this direction, and that's what we're here to support that. But from our side, I think with the box and the module that we're going to provide and the weights and everything else, it's there. But you know, I can't sit back and say, you know, here's a definitive answer on things. I think I have those same type of questions.
But you don't have any problem with doing your ambulance is set up so that it could handle this whole situation. Is that what you're?
Yeah, I'd have to come back and ask the same type of questions, and I think the overall GVW, because you know, the ambulance module, it basically fitting on the back of the chassis. A lot of this comes back to the chassis. Is the GVW available? You know, for the weight side of things, it's going to come back to the chassis. Where it's mounted in there, that's going to be a lot of the aftermarket. We're here to support when it comes to any information that would be needed from the engineering side to communicate, because you'd have basically, you know, you'd have the manufacturer of Braun would be the manufacturer of the module, and then you'd have the manufacturer of the aftermarket propane. That then I would make sure that the logistics back and forth of the vehicle is there, but also if there's any questions between the two. So a lot of the things with the tank or where it's going to be mounted and those type of things, it's actually going to come back to the manufacturer of the propane system.
Very good. I am going to put an end to the discussion by forming a committee of Jason Beck, Rod Marsh, Mark Grantner, and Bob Berner to come up with an alternate proposal that we can all live with. Because I don't want to take any more time out of these meetings to discuss this until we have a consensus from the group. Right now, I think we could spend another hour, maybe another 2 hours discussing this situation. I think we need to get a committee, and the 4 people that I named, I think are a good committee. I would like to see one more person on that committee, but I have not a clue who it would be. Larry, I would put you on it, but I can't have 3 commissioners on a committee. Yes, sir.
Point of order, why not someone from the Ambulance Advisory Board?
That we don't have right now.
And why not?
Dave, would you like to sit on that committee? You've got some experience. Would you be willing to?
Yes.
Thank you. Add Dave Bug to that committee. And then I would like to have a recommendation back for the next meeting, if at all possible. In all due respect, I hear where you're going, Jason. I'm not in total agreement with it. As far as Braun goes, I feel your ambulance, the structure of your ambulance is what we're looking for. I think we're down to a situation where the fuel is going to be, whether we go with an LP conversion unit or if we go start talking about diesel again. I think these are questions that have to be answered, and I can see a lot more conversation going at these meetings, but I prefer this committee to come up with a solution that we can live with and that everybody maybe won't be happy with, but at least the solution that we can come up with.
Aaron told me he's willing to work with us on the price of these ambulances after the first of the year. He said, that's no problem, ain't that right? You will work with us to give us the right amount of money, the discounts, whatever we need.
Yeah, I'll have to go back. We've been going through the process now for a while, and with the manufacturers, they had a 60-day, I think it was December 15th was when the pricing came back, and I think what I'd have to do is go back to them, kind of just make sure that we're set with those things, and that's what I'm here to try and work through. If there's any issues or problems or kind of questions from that side, I just need to know where those are so that I can help to try and work through and alleviate those things. So
thank you very much, Aaron. As a caveat to that committee, I'm going to name Mark Grantner as the chairman of that committee. Thank you for volunteering, Mark. Thank you, Jason. Well, Brenda, I know you gave it to me. I'm not sure what I did with it. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Just say MGT and we're there.
MGT.
There you go. Morning.
Oh, Donna Schmiegel and Gordon Stryker from MGT.
There you go.
I knew I put it somewhere.
Well, I'm Gordon Stryker and this is Donna Schmiegel. In case you couldn't figure that one out. We're here for, there's a proposal that we've made to the county and to the prosecutor's office to help them and assist them doing the Title 4D billing service. Title 4D is the child support program. There are two components of the county that provide the child support services. The Friend of the Court, which is a joint circuit that you have with a couple of counties, provides the child support enforcement end, and then the prosecutor's office does the establishment of paternity and the establishment of initial court orders. Both of those operations are federally funded at 66% reimbursement. So whatever the cost is of the counties, you get reimbursed for those costs at 66%. The process is, though, that you need to apply for that money back to get reimbursed, and our company, MGT, are experts in that area, and we provide the service to several counties, probably about 60 counties now, across the state of Michigan, and we certainly would like to provide that service to your county. All the counties that we work for find that it is a cost-effective way to help the offices because of our area of expertise. The service, Donna is the one that provides. We'll work closely with the prosecutor and with the clerk and the treasurer's office to get the information. So I'm here to answer any questions. Donna has some initial comments to make if she would like to make some comments. The contract that you have before you, I think right now, we've talked with the prosecutor and have agreed. The one that you have has a fee in there for $1.40 per timesheet, which is part of the process. We've talked to the prosecutor and we've agreed that we'll waive that portion of the fee. And I have a new agreement here my understanding is that what we're going to be asking the board to do is authorize the prosecutor to sign a contract. We have a new contract here for her to look at and get going and to sign. Do you have questions?
Well, the cost, I think I'm interested in this, the annual cost is $4,000, so it's $1,000 a quarter. We bill that at 100% eligible, 66% comes back to you, so that cost to the county for annual is $1,360, which is $340 a quarter, and that breaks down to $113 a month. So it is pretty cost effective, and I'll come in and train the prosecutor's office on these daily timesheets. They
Are
have
you
to keep track
currently
of
doing any of this right now, Donna?
I'm sorry?
Are you currently doing any of this right now?
Not for the prosecutor's office, we do for the front of the court office.
Okay.
We're doing this in other prosecutors' office across the state of Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Monthly, we bill about 102 contracts. Some counties are too.
Thank you.
So they have to keep track of their time every day, every 15 minutes, and I think they're doing it manually right now.
Yes, we are.
So
And
this
it's
is an
very time consuming to do it.
Right, it is very time consuming. It will free up the prosecutor as well as Nina to help with the criminal.
Yes,
Work.
and I've already discussed this with the commissioners, if you remember, during the budget discussions. But the main goal I have is NINA handles 100% of our child support and all of our billings and submissions, and this is done both monthly and quarterly per case basis. So it takes a long time for her to longhand calculate all the time that I spend and she spends doing this. And then all of that is submitted, and then we can be audited because we get the 66% reimbursement rate from the state on any child support services that we provide. This will not only free up NINA's time to help Lisa with her burden of handling all of our criminal cases, because our criminal is more than 3/4 of what we do in the office. So I would like to, instead of asking for an assistant, or which may come later, but instead of asking for another office assistant, I would like to be able to free up some of Nina's time in a cost-effective way, so we can shift some of the work that Lisa's doing over to Nina, and sort of ease the problems that we're having in our office with the filings and the paper process, everything that we're doing for adult court, because that takes up a lot of Lisa's time. So it's going to help ease the burden of NINA, and then it's also going to be more cost effective in that we get 66% of the total cost back, but then in talking with other counties, they also have shown an increase in other reimbursements for other expenses that they're not currently submitting, because it's just overlooked. And they're experts in doing this and identifying other costs that we can be getting reimbursed. So
I'll prepare the applications.
That's a pretty good endorsement.
Well, there you go.
Absolutely.
They've asked me to go to their other board of commissioner meetings.
And Jerry knows the only thing she has to do is press the button. I get it all the way into the state system called ECRAMS, and then they just have to submit it on a monthly basis. So,
No, Mike from the Friend of the Court, he spoke very highly of this program too.
Good.
and when the auditors come in, you just give them our name and phone number, and we'll try to take the burden off of that and provide them the documentation that they need to audit the program. So we do that all the time.
Well, I have to admit, Cassie has sold me on your program
Okay.
before today. So, any other questions? Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the MGT of America Incorporated Consulting Service Agreement, the one that he has in his hand, with the Oscoda County Prosecuting Attorney's Office to provide Title 4D billing services in the amount of $4,000 as approved in the 2014 budget. Now, should I put, provided we don't hear from Cassie for an extra person, or should I cut that out?
I make no guarantees on that. Sorry.
You can cut it off at budget.
I'll be quite glad for the new year. How about that?
I'll support.
I have a motion by Grantner, supported by Christenberry. Any further discussion? All in favor? Oh, wait a minute, we're spending money.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Commissioner Kishner?
Yes.
Commissioner Warner?
Yes.
Commissioner Christenberry?
Yes.
Commissioner Greitner?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And Gordon, I will remember your name.
Copies of the contract, should I give these to the prosecutor?
Yes, and she can just make sure we get a copy.
Great, thank you very much. Appreciate your business, folks.
We appreciate you coming in today. Mr. Jeff Mallow and Mr. Glenn Wilson, you're up next.
Jeff, you want to start or you want me to?
I'll let you have the floor.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me back up here today. Larry had come down to our office and said that you guys were putting fiber in up here and you wanted more detailed information about what a local company can do for our community here. And I was going to bring a PowerPoint up here, but I thought it'd be better if I give you guys each a copy of our map and a copy of the quote instead. Kind of have you something you can remember what I said along the way. See here. Everybody got all three copies on? I want to talk about a couple of things here. The history of M33 Access has been dedicated to this community for the last 15 years now. When I moved up here, we didn't even have so much as a dial-up account. The only option was literally to wait until 32 people literally drop dead or canceled or something before they would even take your application for another dial-up account. And I said, that's unacceptable. And from that moment on, I've been working nonstop with a team of people, local people mind you, to build a network here. And in the process of building the network, we've connected all the schools here in northern Michigan underneath the NMEC. And until the grant money came in for the fiber, they were our customers, and they loved us. I have letters of recommendation, but those aren't current right now. They're a couple years old, so I didn't bring them today. But we have had a serious commitment to this community. In fact, businesses such as Joe Yoder's industrial complex he's building up on the curve. He went to everybody. He asked about the Merit fiber. There's no way to get attached to that fiber as a local business. So we build it out for him. Okay? And in the process, we're hooking up fiber to the home for everybody along the way. Much like what we do right here. We have fiber right here in Mile at the central office. All we have to do is come out of the building and go down to the EMS and the county buildings and hook you up. Our costs are going to be half of what Merit's going to charge the taxpayers to hook us up. It doesn't matter if it comes from a grant for Merit or for me or any other provider to get this installed for you. It's still tax dollars, and half as much is quite a bit of a difference. All of our network is underground. That's kind of an important fact. Up here in the winter, we have storms that take out trees and power lines all the time. Matter of fact, the expense of putting the fiber underground, people often debate because it's cheaper to go out and fix an outage, but an outage doesn't do the customer any good that you can go out there and fix it. Things happen, though, to a network. So being able to fix a network is just as important as how it's put in. We built our network. We don't hire contractors to see who's available whenever. We own the boring machines. We own the plows. My guys actually put it in the ground, so we know what we built. And when it comes time for repair, we'll be right here for repair. We're here. Like I said, this is a local business. We have over 30 employees. Half of them live right here and are taxpayers in this county. The other half are in Oklahoma County. this is our backyard. We've invested millions of dollars to this community. We're the ones that brought DSL here for the community. Then competition comes in. We bring a wireless network service. We service the people out in the middle of nowhere. The big difference and the big choice you have today is say, are we going to leverage the tax dollars of this community to help foster bringing the network to the community, such as the businesses and residents in this area? We're talking about getting the county road commission hooked up. They're right on the fiber path here with us, okay? But it'll be all underground. We've been working with the county road commission. They've been working with us real well about going all the way up and around. We're now almost all the way up to Cummins, you know, where the woodworker shop is. We went up to Steiner and come back down. We're 3 miles east of Fairview. We're building, and as you can see on this network map I give you right here, if you want to refer to this, you can see where all the pins are, these little yellow pins. Those are access points of PEDS so we can go to the home. I didn't want to muddy up the map with all the stuff on it, so I kind of broke it down. The green lines that you see connecting West Branch, Rose City, Mile, Grayling, Fairview, these are done with fiber already, okay? And we're building off of that fiber from each CO out so that we can do fiber to the home, okay? So a big thing you got to understand is we're not here just to help the county benefit. We're here to help everybody in the county benefit. Merritt went and put in money for grants. And again, people say you shouldn't talk about your competition by name. Well, but that's who they are, right? They put in money for grants. And I hate to say this, but they didn't care about half your county because they left Fairview schools out. Now, why? Why would they leave Fairview schools out? Because it wasn't cost effective for them? Well, it wasn't cost effective for me either, but I did it because it's our county, right? There's a big thing. Kirtland Community College. They link all 4 counties together. They're really a core participant, right? They were left off the Merritt map completely. Merritt was abandoned by it. And Tim was kind of passionate about this, and so he actually wrote a letter. And for the public, I'd like to read it since they don't have a copy of it. It says, "To whom it may concern, I am writing this letter in reference in support of Michigan Access DBA M33 Access. Over the past 12 years, Michigan M33 Access has proven to be the one entity with the experience, community interest, and commitment to successful implementation of a large-scale wide area network and telecommunication projects with Kirtland. Time after time, when other providers passed us by, M33 Access was there to ensure that we had a world-class service at an affordable rate." That first paragraph that he said right there, and I'm a slow reader and I don't like reading in public anyway, but you get where he's going with this. The next paragraph, he talks about the millions of dollars we have saved these schools directly over competition with Merritt. Other companies talk about, you know, bidding, public bids and bidding on services as an obstacle to overcome. We actually look at that as an opportunity to do better and save taxpayer dollars. So I don't look at bidding on services for our community as an obstacle at all. Phone services. We are a licensed phone company. We provide traditional dial tone services as well as the new and upcoming digital IP technology. As more and more people switch to the IP technology, we're there. We're doing it with them. Matter of fact, we were on the bleeding edge of it up here trying to get it because of the different restraints we had in the community. So we have a license that's on the line with our phone service. We provide services to people like the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Department. You know, they were talking about why they don't have Oklahoma County hooked up because of the bidding and contracts and whatnot, right? We hooked them up for free. Okay? We didn't charge them. What we charged Kirtland was literally about 1/5 of the actual cost. What we're charging you is about 1/3 of the actual cost. And the reason being is because we got skin in the game. We can't let you pay for it all and then, okay, well, that's just not right. And then bill you every month on a monthly basis as well. That's double dipping in a big way, right? So that's why it only costs you 1/3. And that's why it'll be underground, because we have to maintain it. Does this make sense? Let's see, had some notes here. Grants, the grants made out to you, okay? But it's still, the grants are made out to you in trusted taxpayer dollars, right? You can use it any way you want. Install the road commission, absolutely. The road commission needs to be hooked up. Every one of our county buildings do, such as the library as well. I've served the library very well, and I believe you're a very faithful customer of mine, in fact.
Yeah.
There's a reason why she's faithful, is because we're there. We're a local company. We don't have to go to Ann Arbor for support. We don't have to go to Alpena for support. You can get me on the phone. If my staff ain't doing their job and you got a problem, where do you get to talk to the president of Verizon or the president of AT&T or the president of any of these companies? Is the president of these companies down here? No, I am. Because this is my backyard. And I'm here to ask for your business and support in this community. We can bring fiber to the home for everybody. For the services you're asking for the county, the citizens would like as well. And we can leverage this. We can use the two together, and it'll speed things up to get it done. Does that make sense? That's the biggest thing I'm here to say. And the monthly recurring costs are significantly less than what Mary has quoted. So both the installation costs up front, your ongoing monthly costs, the network, I can show you, we got 3 points out to the internet. Any company gets you to the internet competently should get you to the internet with whatever bandwidth you got. Okay? We hook up in Grayling, Roscommon, and West Branch. All 3 points of location. So we got 3 different providers out. And in fact, one of our provider paths goes across that very same Merit network. So we have the reliability of that network, we have the reliability of Charter Communication Network, and we have the reliability of AT&T and Frontier's interoffice transports. So really, there's more than just one company bringing resources to pot here. And if something goes wrong, we can reroute you in a heartbeat. Does that make sense? So we do have a backup, we do have security, and we do put it underground. We spent the extra money, and we're here to serve our community, and that's why I'm here. Any questions you have? Anything? Jeff, you got anything you'd like to add? I mean, standing up here as I'm rattling on, Jeff?
Just a couple things here. I had a chance to review and watch the presentation from Merit from a couple weeks back, and very, very professional presentation. Just a couple of points that might be of concern if I'm sitting in your shoes. It appeared that the redundancy of the network was hammered home multiple times. I think the individual presenting that probably knows, as does Glenn and Nate here from Michigan Access, half or more than half of your failures that happen in the outside world, in the real world, to fiber, to coax, to copper, happens in what's called the last mile, or for your purposes here, coming from the central office here or coming across the street, car going down Main Street on a slippery winter day, takes out a telephone pole, you're dead in the water. It's got nothing to, in more than half of the occurrences, it's happening in that last mile. We've taken some extra precautions with the underground and some failover methods that I don't think Merit would employ to protect you against things like that. We do that for a bulk of our customers today, and that would be something that would be employed for the county as well, or for this complex as well.
4G backup.
Exactly. We work with Verizon Wireless on their 4G network. We have our own block of static IP addresses, which I'm sure Dan's familiar with. If something happened to that fiber coming across the street or here, you're dead in the water with the Merit approach or alternative at this point. We're giving you a failover path to get that traffic out of here to keep you in business. I've worked with and represented Michigan Access for many years. Had a little bit of the vision that Glenn had, and with some of the underlying things that happen with the local carriers, the incumbent local carriers, the what used to be General Telephone, then Verizon and Frontier today, when you invest your own money and become a competitive access provider in the markets like Mayo, Grayling, Roscommon, Prudenville, and you put your own equipment in there, It allows you to offer discounted service, and quite significantly, I looked at your phone bills and your internet bills back in the general telephone days, and they were cut in half when the Michigan Accesses of the world came to town. And so, you know, I think...
That's a good point. When we got your phone service to begin with, it was half over the traditional. Now, we're still on that same traditional type of service, and the fiber can help us lower your cost even more. But, again, apples to apples, your phone service has been working fine, hasn't it? Right? You got a T1, everything's working fine, and it was half of what you were paying before. And again, now we're talking half again over even the competition. So
that's good. A couple of the other talking points were speed of the network. If you're sitting at your desktop computer in one of these buildings that's connected, whether you're connecting to another, if you're a Merit customer, whether you're connecting to another customer that's a Merit customer, or you're connecting to somebody else that's off the Merit network.
Yeah,
the redundancy, or excuse me, the time to reach that other person's computer or the latency in the network is going to be insignificant.
We're talking milliseconds.
It's not going to be anything that you're going out on fiber. It's going to be insignificant. It's not going to be anything that you're going to notice the difference in maybe 10 milliseconds to 20 or to 30 milliseconds. It's insignificant.
And I doubt even that, because we got interconnections with them several points to hand it off without even going all the way out to the internet. You know what I mean? So, but even there's more than one way to get back to these people, and that's the whole beauty of the internet. I mean, but we cross-connect with them right there in Granite, so it really wouldn't make it even a millisecond difference, would it?
I don't think it's going to be anything based on what we viewed, and we do this every day, on our network, off our network. We work with multiple other carriers, and we see this stuff, so we're talking real world here. What else was there that was, in terms of having access to other services, the Michigan lien system, any other service that operated outside of your little county ring here.
Right, Ogama uses the lien through it, absolutely.
Exactly. You're going to connect, you're going to have a security appliance inside the building, and all of that data is going to go out through that security appliance. It's going to take that same path out of the building, whether we're in here or somebody else is in here. And that return trip for you to get that information back, you're not going to notice it. It's going to be insignificant. So in the big scheme of things, it's really a non-talking point. Glenn hit on it. The fiber to the home is huge. Once that happens, which is happening now north of here, once fiber to the home happens, that's probably going to be the last service for the foreseeable future that a resident is going to get or a business is going to get. There just isn't enough money in this business for a second provider to come in and to put fiber to the home once it happens. And we've made that investment, are making that investment every day.
I've talked to several quote Merit partners in the fiber, and I said, hey, you guys got fiber up here now, what are you doing up here? Well, let's see, you got M33 up there doing DSL, you got Frontier up there doing DSL, you got the cable company doing internet. You really think we're going to go up here and invest any more money and try to compete in such a small market as Mile or Fairview? That was the answer I got back pretty much from all of them, okay? So it's what one of these carriers are going to step up and actually deliver the 21st technology to our homes and businesses. Because we need it out here. The number one thing I get hit up for anytime I'm out and about is, when are you getting the fiber to my house? When are you getting it to my house? I guarantee I got it when I walked in the door, okay? I swear, okay? Even if it's right in front of our house, we got to get the drop hooked up to their house. My biggest problem is getting it fast enough for everybody. But I'm here to tell you, I need the county's business to leverage all I can to bring it to everybody. I need your help in bringing this vision true of bringing our whole community up, And I'm here to do whatever you want. I really apologize that this has been going on since June, and I just found out about this very recently. Otherwise, I would have given you guys your answer even sooner, It's not like I want to be Johnny-come-lately here. It's just, we just now found out that this has all been going on behind the scenes that I didn't know about. That kind of put us in a bad spot. And so I'm sorry I haven't brought this to your attention earlier. But we are here, and we do care. And frankly, the taxpayers here care as well. They want it. We need it. And I need your help in getting it. That's what I'm here to ask for. So, is there anything else?
I don't think so. I think in the big scheme of things, over the course of time, I think we've shown we can provide reliable service. It only gets better when that transmission moves to fiber, which we competently installed in multiple businesses and residences to this point. And we'd like an opportunity to provide it, bid on it, provide it to the county as well.
Once I have certain obstacles to building a network. Okay, let's just get real about it, right? Some of it's money. Let's talk about money. It costs a lot of money to pull my fiber from my rack in that central office from Verizon building out to the center, out to the road right away. Once I get it to the road right away, we're off to the races. And that's where you guys come in. See what I'm saying? That's why I said, I'm hooking up the EMS building. Fine, sure. I don't have a problem doing that. We're going right past them. Of course we're going to hook them up. The county building? Absolutely. Okay? It's not a problem. All I got to do is get out of that building. And that's where this comes in. You know, I figured I split it a third. You guys get a third. I take 2/3 of the construction costs to get it out here for you guys. That way I'd be chipping in to get it to the community, and it would be fair that way. Does that make sense? But we need to have that happen, one way or another, in order to bring this community up to services. Now, I already have brand new underground copper on the southwest side of Mile here, and I can turn that speeds up to like 30 megabit once I connect the fiber over here. So that'll be the last section of town, but the rest of this section over here, this will be upgraded to fiber as soon as I can get started on it. I don't want to bring up my engineering maps. I thought real hard about plugging in and showing you what we have and what's mapped out and what's here, but I really think that would be, in a public meeting, kind of not the greatest advice to do, you know what I mean? So, but I'd be happy to show each and every one of you our network, show you the redundancy, show you the fact that we have not one, not two, but 3 ways out of the internet, and we have not one competent fiber network. We also have a carrier class wireless network that has run our schools for 4 years there. So it's very reliable. So we got 2 different platforms, and they'll be interconnected right here. Does that make sense? Yeah. Any questions at all?
Any questions?
So you're going to have mile in a loop too, 2 ways in and out, according to your map.
Yeah, I have it right now.
Mile, you're coming from Crawford.
Yes, I'm coming from
So you're doing
Grayling
the same
and
thing?
going to Ogama, yes.
So if the line coming from where we want to get break, we're still coming from Crawford.
So be it. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I actually have an actual ring, not a collapse ring. So, yes.
And on this is bid here, that includes all the hookups inside the building, everything?
Whatever, yes.
Everything.
Yeah. I didn't even get the details on what you guys really wanted done. And I'm here to tell you I'm committed enough to say, yes, that includes it, whatever it is. We'll get it done. Because it's our county too. I mean,
On the phone piece, we tried to make that simple, and that's an all-inclusive, unlimited use plan.
Yep.
We've had your service forever and a day. We know how much use goes on, and I don't think you're going to be starting a telemarketing outfit anytime soon in the basement. So
no, I put everything in there.
we're comfortable to say that's an all-inclusive plan. You're tax exempt, so that number you see there is going to be what shows up at the bottom of the bill.
No gray areas on any of it. And it's a whole lot less.
You're going to have
And the construction.
backup equipment. If something goes down, you'll be able to get it to us quick.
One of the things that challenges us up here is electronics. Something fails. It's going to fail. Okay. The big problem is okay. Get the vendor on the phone, overnight me a thing, right? Well, it's Friday at 4 o'clock. Okay, you're not going to even get a vendor on the phone until Monday, and then it's going to be Wednesday or Thursday before the part gets here. That's why I stock inventory every single item on my network. Every item I have at least 1 or 2 pieces of equipment hot, ready to spare in inventory, ready to go, especially backbone equipment. And that doesn't come cheap. I mean, don't get me wrong, I got over $500,000 sitting in inventory just doing nothing, just for in case that one thing fails that you don't have. So yes, I do have backups, absolutely. And it's right here, 15 minutes away. Well, it took us 20 minutes today, so 20 minutes away. So that's as fast as I can get it, yep.
And I can say, Jack, we have had times where our DSL router has gone. Within a half hour, somebody was from M33 to the library replacing it and programming it for us.
Things do happen.
Good endorsement.
Yeah.
Thank you. But things happen, equipment fails, this is technology, this is state-of-the-art stuff. So yeah, we have to have spares, absolutely, and I keep plenty of hot spares.
Mark, you are on his system also, aren't you?
I am. I just want to know what Dan thought about this. I respect his opinion.
What to think until today, so, and obviously I don't have the information that you're looking at here, so I don't know what you're looking at exactly, but I thought it was really important that we hear Glenn's perspective and Jeff's perspective on what they can provide. A couple of things that need to be clarified is that for how long have you offered fiber, Glenn?
2 years now. Matter of fact,
That's really interesting because I talked to Nate here with a disappointment on the speed of our T1 connection, and that was never mentioned anywhere in the conversation. And I've been trying for probably the last year and a half to get faster service. And basically, I was told that that's about as fast as we're going to be able to get.
a T1 is a fixed speed. A T1 is 1.5 up, 1.5 down. That should be what you're getting. Okay, that's what you're getting on it. So it's performing as a T.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Unless you test it, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Fiber hasn't been available out of the Mayo central office.
No, I'm doing it right now.
That's what I'm asking. Is
Right.
when
But you didn't tell Nate that you wanted to spend $17,000 to do it.
Yeah, when did it become available?
And I can answer this real quick. We've been doing our fiber network in waves, essentially. We started in Rose City. From our office, from our main office, we worked our way into town, into Rose City, to access the central office there, which would allow us to branch out from there. Whether it be Mile, whether it be Fairview, whether it be Grayling, so on and so forth. So recently, just recently is the answer to your question. When is fiber starting to become available here in here in Mile, excuse me. And recently is the answer to that, within the last 6 months.
I think it was August I started up in Fairview.
Exactly,
Right?
exactly. We
But
started the grant process about 2 years ago, I believe.
Well, I had no idea you were going to spend this kind of money to build it out. I mean, if you're going to give me a big enough check, I can do it, anything.
There was only one group making the offer to us, and they came to me and asked us, would you be interested in this? And that's at the same time that I explored all the different possible options.
Well, we got caught up on it now, so.
So just to clarify with everybody, why weren't they included from the very, there wasn't anybody to go to have a second, right? Am I right or wrong?
If you told me you were willing to pay out construction fees to get it out of that CO, absolutely. I mean, when somebody's talking about $17,000 for the build out, that's a big difference.
That's the word I wanted to hear, reason. Okay, so that piece is clear.
All right, then Dan, you'll be able to work this out.
It's not my decision, to be honest, Jack. It's the decision.
Well, I think you need to do some homework on it. And
I don't need to do any homework, I don't think, Jack. I think I understand what they offer, and I think I understand what Merit offers.
Then we'll have a discussion about this at a later date.
However you'd like to do it, it would be fine.
Okay.
Jack, can I say one more thing?
Yes.
When Glenn says what you see is what you get, he really does mean it. The day he was out measuring for the fiber in front of my house, he said, because we had just within 6 months got their wireless, and he said you will have no hookup fee. And so when they called to get me the paperwork, she said, oh, you have no hookup fee. This is interesting, but it came from Glenn. So, when he tells you something, he really does mean it.
Very good. Good endorsement.
And I would like to say one other thing is I don't want to cast any negative reflection at all on M33 because I agree with all the things you said about helping the community, being the first ones in. I took advantage of it for years myself. Me personally, I took advantage of it because I couldn't get DSL service.
Let's go to the next step.
M33 is the only one who got DSL service to my residential home, and I appreciate that.
Well, it took a lot to do that. I had to go get a phone license. I had to fight Frontier and Verizon at the time.
I understand.
Nobody's battling these battles.
I understand.
That's why I need your help.
And I agree with all that has been said, but we have to look at it as a business and say, okay, we have to look at, okay, what is M33 providing, and what is Merit providing, and we have to look at it. It's not a personal reflection on you, it's just us looking at it as a business and saying, who's going to provide us with the best?
Okay, what are they offering besides what I have here? Because
I don't know, I don't.
Because
I can't see
I
it.
think, well, it's the internet. I mean, I made it simple. The internet for 400 and the unlimited calling for the PRI for the phone for 375. So, I mean, if there's something I'm missing that they're offering, then let me know. But as far as I know, that's it, right?
Look at it, just like Jack said, sit down and look at it, and maybe discuss it with the two of you more. And
one other comment as well, so that everybody understands in the Merit project, Merit has 2 co-sponsors in that project, and I'm not sure if that was discussed, brought up, or mentioned in the presentation. When you come out of Ann Arbor, and then that project started and went to the west, and then came up the west side of the state, you have 2 other co-sponsors that ride along inside that conduit. A company called Lynx Network Group out of Kalamazoo, and a company called Comlink, formerly Great Lakes Comnet, I believe, which is a consortium of small mom and pop phone companies, about 70 of them from around the state. Comlink and Lynx are both located as well in the central office here in Mayo currently today, and their service comes out of that building and runs down through Main Street here. Possibly a little premature in saying this, but if things go the way that we anticipate them in the next couple weeks, 30 days, our traffic will traverse that exact same network. So there isn't anything different about traffic leaving this building. Not that it would be any different with the configuration proposed today, but if you took stock in what was presented last time and thought that was impressive and that had a lot of talking points and it was good stuff, our traffic will traverse that exact same path.
I already have it with Lynx right now traversing that same path, and I'm adding Great Lakes Comnet now. Comlink now. I'm adding my interconnection with them as well. So
Didn't
that
Cummins
I can do that
Township
as well.
just hook up with you on the fiber?
Yep. Again, I'm just trying to link this county together. It's my county as much as
Phil
anybody, so
Bendeley,
it's
I don't know if you know Phil or not. Phil is the IT director for Roscommon County.
That's right.
Yep.
I do know him.
Yep.
And the competitors, the competitors came in, and it was just, it's almost an exact situation of this, where just flat out, Merit's not in a position to be writing checks for construction that they can't recoup immediately, outside of the way that this network came together. And it just came down to that same situation in Roscommon County. It was 18 grand to bring it into the county building, and the county just said, we don't have the money, we can't do it. So we've got something on the table that is, it's really a no-brainer when we took everything into consideration.
Pulling the businesses together to do fiber to the home in downtown Roscommon as well. We're trying to link the taxpayer dollars and needs with the actual community that is servicing, you know what I mean? And actually cut costs for the taxpayers and bring services up for the community at the same time. And the only way that's going to happen is when we leverage our community together. This community is way too small to have it fragmented like this. We need brand new fiber technology to everyone, not just to the county. And that's the big difference.
Thank you very much, Glenn. I
So
do appreciate you being here today. And Dan, we'll talk about this. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to ask, you know, it's not, it makes it sound like we missed the boat on this, and it's not that.
No, I think somehow we missed the boat. I think somehow we missed the boat. We didn't know you were doing this.
That's right.
So,
and,
you know,
but what I want to know is, you know, we're hooked up, and is Cassie still here?
No.
Is the other court person? We're hooked up with Oscoda County with the courts, right, on the Merit network? Aren't you going to be on the Merit network with the court system?
I believe they are.
Are you going to be able to access on that?
Yeah, they have an internet portal, correct? And you'd be transported. I mean, it doesn't matter how you get from here to there. It's still an internet portal.
Dan, there's currently a lease line. There's a lease line between here and Tawa.
Okay, but they're getting rid of the lease line, the 56K lease line technology to go to the internet portals that they've got set up now. So as long as you're on the internet, Yes,
See, and
that
that's
should
where
eliminate
Eric
that.
came through, and they're hooking up health departments and all the
Oscoda
government
Valley Mental
offices.
Health.
That's what I
That's
wanna
what we're
know,
hooking up.
are we gonna be able to get on and connect with
Yes.
these people?
Yes.
Yes.
Like we're supposed to at the
Yes.
same
And
speed?
eliminate that lease line.
Yes.
Correct.
As long as they have an internet portal, you can get to anybody
So,
on the net, period.
and this is being done right now outside of the Merit Network or the Merit presentation. Not to diminish it in any way, but it's kind of old news. It's standard technology that's been available and is being utilized by multiple other agencies and private businesses. All that's happening right now, you have a dedicated, expensive point-to-point circuit or lease line it's basically a pipe that's running from one business to another, court to court, or whoever it might be, and that goes away. And in Merit's case, they present it as on the Merit Network, because technically it is, because it stays on that fiber. It's going to be no different than when that traffic leaves the court, it will go through a firewall and router when it leaves the building, so it's encrypted and protected. And I think there are certain guidelines that you have to adhere to when you send that traffic out, and they have a corresponding piece of hardware on the other end, and that traffic is received on the other end. It doesn't matter whether you're using Charter's coax internet connection, Charter's fiber, Michigan Access fiber, or Merit fiber. That technology has been there, it's been in place, it is in place, and you're going to migrate to it one way or another going forward.
The big key is, like Jeff said, the last mile, getting the county onto a fiber network so that you can reach the whole world. All these things open up that. We got to get you more bandwidth into your county. That's what it really boils down to. And this will do that.
Since I don't have that, what is the installation cost for the fiber?
For the EMS and the county is about, well, not quite a third, but $6,000. So it's
6,000?
Yeah, quite a bit less. Yeah. And it's underground. So that makes a big difference too. I mean, underground fiber is by far the most secure we can do up here in northern Michigan. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to have to move on
Yep.
here. Thank you.
I thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate a chance to come back up here and address this.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Please, Larry, did this answer your question like you were asking?
Yeah. Okay.
Did you get the response that you were looking for?
Yeah, you did fine.
Because it was a very short period of time to come up here and
You
get turned around for you.
the loop and the equipment that I was worried about.
Yep, we have it all here. Yep.
I see we got a good reputation there. The equipment's here.
God bless everyone. Thank you.
One additional comment, if I may, Jack, is Buckley and I were just talking, is the grant can't be reapplied. You have to reapply. You can't take the money and redirect it somewhere else. That's not the way it works. You start from scratch, and you can
You can
apply
still
for it.
qualify for the grant and all that, just you got to do the paperwork. That's no big deal.
Well, this grant expires April 30th, so it would have to be a different one that we would attempt to acquire, and that's a slow-moving animal.
It's a
April
homeland
30th or
security.
14th?
is what it
Yes.
is.
But
And
here's
it
the
would
thing,
have
if we do this right, we work together, it won't slow down your side of it. Because technically, your connection will be from the road right away to the building. I can do that anytime. So I can actually get the building and the build out in town, get it out of the CO in the spring, get all that done, and get it all ready to go for you guys. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So I
but if
can
we
get
do
that.
it with grant money, it would have to be through their grant process, so we'd have
Right.
to send in another AAF and another EHP, and it would be on that timeline, so it wouldn't be till 13 money, so it couldn't be done till those things were approved, and it would have a totally different deadline.
Well, we can work around that.
Yeah, it's doable, it's
Yeah.
just, it
We-
would be doable differently.
We can schedule our construction schedule, because you can't start the stuff on your property until that's approved.
Yes.
Right? But I can get right up to the property and be done with it, right? Because it takes 90 days to get it out of the building here anyway. It's just the process that it takes to go through Frontier to get it pulled out of the building. But we can get a lot of other stuff done. And I have the equipment already in stock. I already bought the equipment for Mile, so this is all part of it. I got pulled up to Fairview by priority. People drug me up there first, but Mile's on my list here, so. All right? So anything else? Anything else? Here, does everybody have my private number? Here, I'll give you my private number. I don't have a business card with me. I'll give you my private number though. 685-1001. That goes straight to my desk. And my cell phone is 390-1857. And unless I'm at my desk or in a county meeting, I have my phone with me. Okay? Again, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We bug out? Yeah.
Brian? And Kristen.
Morning. I'll let Brian go first.
At least it's only one page, isn't it? No. Thank you.
I'm feeling really left out today.
Here.
You know what? We need your stuff after you're done.
What I gave you is the trend of what the attorney fees that my office has been paying over the last
You're going to have to speak up.
5 years. And you notice the upward trend in the amount of money we're spending versus the caseload that we receive. As discussed during our budget meetings, what we're looking to do is have a court-appointed contract for the family division, like the other contracts in the other courts in the building. So I would ask the board to make a motion to approve the contract. I think you guys got a copy of the contract there. To be effective January 1st.
So this is gonna drop that red line, make it go in the other direction?
At least even out.
Okay, what's DL and NA?
Delinquency cases and neglect abuse cases.
Brian, does that fall in the same pay as the ones that are getting it from circuit court and district court now?
Same pay.
Well, the way we pay them quarterly.
Yes.
We pay them monthly, actually, the other
We're
ones.
going to be doing quarterly payments. But the graph is just, the data doesn't make sense. As the cases are going down, the amount we're paying in family divisions is just skyrocketing. But if you look at the point where it really took off is when the other courts started getting contracted services for the attorneys.
So it's already over 25,000 right now.
Yes. 30,000 at the end of November.
Well, contract's gonna be 23.6.
Yes. About 22.5 with a contingency just in case I need to get an attorney.
It's already been budgeted.
It's already been budgeted.
Yes.
Well, I've already, in my dealings with Brian, he's always come across as, he knows what he's talking about, and it always comes through.
And Christie's here to support him.
I am.
Anything
And
to
support
add?
the idea that this is one of the very few counties and few courts in the 4 counties, 3 courts that does not have a contract for their family division. So we're slowly working all 4 counties, all 3 courts to have a contract. And it's benefited us because they're not charging per hour. They're not that they would, but padding their hours that they put in on one case. This is what they're going to get.
So we have a contract with